Today's video is about trust. How to build back trust after a betrayal has happened. I'm caseylepper, and I help you overcome anything that gets in the way of creating the life you want. So in every relationship we have, trust is a fundamental aspect that allows us to build a healthy relationship long-term. If we don't have trust in a relationship, it is very unlikely that we will be able to feel safe, secure, and be able to grow with the person. And so trust is really essential. And there's some people who have a really amazing past, that they've had great parents, great teachers, great relationships. And so trust is really easy for you to have. Then there's some people who've gone through damaging situations where trust has been lost. And so you might enter into a relationship that needs time to build trust. In any case, there are a few things that happen that break down any layer of trust that we have with someone. And when that happens, it can be so destabilizing. So most people, when you think about trust in relationships, go straight to infidelity. So when a partner has cheated with another person. But trust is so much more than that. Trust is also about reliability, consistency, dependability, that what I say is what I'm going to do, that I'm going to support you, that I will have your back. So trust can be complex. If you're coming into a relationship with some baggage, then maybe it's going to be harder for you to trust someone, in which case you need to be really, really clear about what actions enhance the trust and which actions limit the trust. Some person who comes into a relationship with a healthy level of trust is going to give you the benefit of the doubt and is going to wait for something to happen. In any case, my main message is this. If you've lost trust in a relationship, you can always get it back. And I'm going to share 4 ways where you can build it back. First, if trust has been broken for any reason, the person who's broken it has to take responsibility. They have to admit and acknowledge what they have done. If they never take responsibility, then it's nearly impossible to fully trust that person. When someone really takes responsibility, they genuinely, with remorse, understand what they have done. And with that responsibility, they're going to come to you and ask how they can make it better. This is the clearest sign that someone has really accepted responsibility and they're willing to put action and consistent work into building it up. If you're watching this and your partner has done something to betray you and to break trust and they never admit to it, you might consider getting an outside reference or support to be able to figure this out. Because in my experience, if they won't admit it and they won't take responsibility, then it's really easy to feel like you're crazy, really easy to be gaslit, and really easy to lose a sense of self because you're holding now the responsibility that they should be holding. So if you've been betrayed, the person needs to take responsibility. They need to accept, acknowledge, and indicate that they're going to put some action into repairing it. The next thing you want to look for is that they show up consistently. When you've told them what they can do in order to build back trust, if they consistently act on what you said, then this is a great indicator that they are so into it, that they are trying to build it back. If there's not consistency, then you cannot build it. I liken it to building a house on quicksand. You can try, you can build, you can work on communication, conflict management, but if there's no trust and they're not showing up consistently to build that trust, then it will not work. So trust is really built through accumulating direct experiences and consistency, honoring promises, showing that the person is hearing what you're saying and showing up as much as they can, as consistently as they can. In situations where there has been a loss of trust and a big betrayal, it's important to recognize that there needs to be a time in the relationship where there's more transparency. I worked with a couple And it turned out one of the partners was hiding money from her. And so when they were rebuilding trust, the agreement that they had was she was going to be able to ask him about his accounts, and he had to accept that that was just part of the process, that there was going to be full transparency with what purchases were made, credit card accounts, bills, etc. So being able to remove any secrecy allows the person who's been betrayed to see that you are showing up, that you are in integrity, that you are open to them understanding exactly what's going on. It's really important that any opportunity to be secretive is removed. So that's why transparency is the number 3 way to start to rebuild trust. The fourth aspect that helps build back trust is when you've set clear boundaries and that they're upheld and respected. So in the case with a couple where there was a loss of trust with money, they had to have very clear rules about what money was going where and how the spending was. And this agreement between them, this boundary set, indicated if trust was being built or if it wasn't. With boundaries set, it allows a change of behavior to happen. And this change is what can give someone the courage and the hope that something will change in the relationship long term. The final piece of building back trust is to show up with honest, direct, and vulnerable communication. Trust isn't built overnight, and sometimes it takes a long time. And the person who's done the betrayal can get really frustrated because they're saying, I've done everything. I've upheld my bargain. I've taken responsibility. I've adhered to the boundaries that were set. I've been transparent. I haven't been secretive. And it still takes time. Some people need longer to heal and to overcome the damage that has been done. And so if you're in a place where you can talk to your partner about it and both people can just show up vulnerably and say, I'm still having a hard time, I'm still healing, and the other person says, I understand that and I'm frustrated because I'm doing the best I can, that vulnerability, that showing up for each other emotionally, that mutual support is going to help fuel the build so much faster. So I've said in some videos before, emotional intimacy is like the energy that really builds a relationship. It's necessary for a relationship to feel satisfying, to have the depth and the commitment to move forward together. And so likewise, if you're building back trust, the emotional intimacy, the ability to communicate, to be honest, open, while being empathetic, understanding, and kind, can show that the relationship really has what it takes to be able to overcome this obstacle. When you've been with someone for a long time, chances are they're going to do something that betrays you on some level. It might be small, it might be big. And we can't always throw someone out because of one mistake. If they've done these things, if they've taken responsibility, if they've shown a change in behavior, if they've upheld the boundaries and they continue to support you and be vulnerable while still having their own emotional state, this shows the person is worth trying to trust. But at the end of the day, if you can never trust that person, if there's always something in the back of your head, maybe you need healing or maybe you have to let that relationship go. The truth is we need safety in a relationship in order to be your best self. And if you don't feel safe on one level, you have to admit this to yourself and ask, what do I need to feel safe? Trust isn't built overnight, but with these actions and these steps, it can slowly rebuild. And both of your commitment to rebuilding that trust and seeing if the relationship can get stronger as a result is an indicator that you found a really good match.